Hello there, thanks for joining me once again. And on this tutorial I'm going to tie up a woolly bugger pattern. I know we've seen tons and tons of woolly bugger patterns out there, but this guy is a little bit different. It's called the ice dub woolly bugger. And you can tie it up in an array of different colors, of course. You can change, there's tons of different colors ice dub out there. You just change up the color of ice dub, and then your marabou, your flash for the tail, and your hackle and whatnot. You can put different color cone heads or beads on it. I chose to do an all-in-one for you in this time around, so I thought you might like to see this bugger tied, so I'll get this guy the vise, a new hook in, and I'll get going here. The hook I'm using is a 9672 mustad on a size 6. I'll get that locked in the vise here. And I have a medium-sized gold cone on there. And for the weight, I'm using 0.20 wire, lead wire, so I'm going to wrap about anywhere from 12 to 15 wraps on there. So we'll get that on there first. Just like so here. Alright, I'll snap that end off there. And bring that end up, wiggle that off. Okay, just like so. Alrighty, now before I push that up into the cone, I'm going to put a little drop of super glue here. Just a little tiny drop of gel glue. Then I'll slide that up in once I get that there. That little end's got to be turned right there. There we go. Now I'll just push that up in the cone. And that'll lock that in place. There we go. Okay, and I'm using olive 3/0 monocord for thread. So I'll start my thread here right behind the lead. Build a little dam, jump up on the lead. Then I'll come back down. Then we'll take our thread and wrap it back towards the bend. We'll stop just in front of the barb here. Okay. Snip off that tag in, a couple more wraps back. Okay. And I have some nice olive marabou here for the tail. And I like to measure that up so it's about the length of usually the hook shank, or from the eye of the hook back to the end of the bend. And I'll switch hands and tie that in. Got a pinch loop here. Okay, come up and tie that in. Secure it down with a couple snug wraps. Just like so. Then we're going to clip that to where the lead starts there. You want it to be even with where the lead catches there. Then we'll wrap that all down. Just like so. Okay, snug that down with several wraps, locking that in there nice and tight. Okay, there's our tail. Now for flash, I don't put a lot of flash in. I got 2 strands of olive peacock crystal flash here, and I'm just going to put 2 on each side. So we'll start 2 on my side here, wrap back onto those, then we'll grab the other 2, fold them on the other side, bring those back as well, get them all going the way we want them, and we'll wrap back a little bit more, then forward once again, stop our thread there, and I'll cut those to just a hair past the tail. Alright, next is our wire rib, and I have some UTC small copper wire. I'll catch that in underneath there and wrap that back to the front of the tail. Just like so, put it in the material clip. Okay. Now our body, of course, hence the name ice dub bugger. I've got some olive brown ice dub here. So I'm going to dub a noodle on here, some wax on the thread. And you want a fairly thick noodle, because I'm going to pick this out some once the fly's done with my dubbing brush. So don't be shy on the dubbing for this noodle here, for this guy. Okay. Get that noodle dubbed in there. Alrighty. We'll wrap this guy on, see where this takes us. Okay, right in front of the tail, and then we'll wrap that forward. Just like so. Okay, and we want to leave a little bit of space behind the, I'm not going right up to the cone there, I want to leave a little bit of space. I'm just going to throw in a 1/2 inch real quick. Okay. Okay, our next step, now for the hackle, I have some dyed olive badger hackle dyed olive. And I'll tie that in here. Tie it in by the stem. Concave side facing rearward. Wrap that forward, then fold that stem back, locking it in place. Snip off that excess piece. Just like so. Okay. Now we're going to take this and start to palmer it back. Just keep going rearward here. Just like so. Grab my little hackle pliers. And we'll keep wrapping back till we get almost to the back. Then I'm going to bring that wire underneath and back up around. We want to catch that hackle tip with a couple wraps of wire. Release my pliers. And I want to wiggle that through and go forward towards the cone. Just like so. That's going to lock those hackle stems in there good and snug. And I'll tie that wire off. A couple wraps. Fold it back. And I'll wiggle that off. Helicopter it. There we go. Alrighty. Now come back and snip off that hackle tip at the rear. Reach in with my scissor points here and snip that out. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. Now one more step. What I'd like to do is I add one more. Take another olive badger saddle hackle here, and I'm going to tie one more in the front because I want a little bit thicker hackle towards the cone here. So I'm going to add another hackle. Same deal. Wrap it in. Fold back the stem. Snip the excess, and we'll get 3 to 4 wraps here at the front, just like so. There we go. It's looking good. And I'll come up with one more wrap. I'll tie that off right there. Catch that underneath. A couple wraps there. Nice tight wraps. Fold everything back. And we'll build a little thread collar here. And I'll come in and snip off that excess tip there. There we go. Okay. I just want to build up a little bit more thread collar there, but make sure that's locked in there really well. That looks good. Let's make everything's folded back out of the way. Okay, that looks fine. Okay, so what I'll do now is take a little bit of Zap-A-Gap, a little bit of super glue on the thread here, just like so. I'm going to make 3 or 4 wraps through there, then grab my whip finisher, come in, make 4 or 5 turns. Okay, snug that down. And snip off the excess thread. Okay, there we go. Okay, now one more step. I'm going to take my little Velcro brush here. It's just a little piece of Velcro. I taped on a little wooden dowel, and I'm just going to come in and pick that ice stub out a little bit. All over the complete, on the sides and the complete part of the body here. Just pick it out, sort of brush it back as you go. Just makes it a little more buggy's all. That little bit more flash showing through. Okay, that should be fine. Then just comb that back. That looks fine right there. Alrighty, there we have it. Another size 6 all up ice dub woolly bugger. I think it's a very sharp looking bugger, nice and buggy, and a nice amount of flash to it. It should be a good catch for trout and also smallmouth bass. And I thought you might like to see a little different bugger pattern tied this time, so I chose this one. So anyhow, thanks for watching, everyone. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button if you like. Appreciate that a lot. And until next time, happy tying out there, stay safe, and I shall see you again soon. And so long for now, folks.